For some reason, I am not seeing the Knicks box score here. I will pull that up. But let's talk about the Raptors losing to the Knicks. Honestly, this is not a team that I have a tremendous amount of faith in going forward. I'm talking about the Knicks right now. You know, I think Julius Randle got off to such a poor start. And as much as Jalen Brunson is a really good player and Tom Thibodeau is a really good coach, and I like their collection of overall talent, Dante DiVincenzo, Manuel Quickly. I mean, it's just a really, really good core of players, you know, like a really good 10-man unit. You know, Josh Hart. Like, there's nobody on their team that I don't like other than Julius Randle. But I have a lot of respect for them tonight based on how they executed. You know, like the low-hanging fruit, obviously, is you're going to say you shot poorly, right? You're going to say, okay, you know, you shot so poorly because you don't have shooters. You shoot 18.8% from three. They shoot 44% from three. How the hell are you supposed to win? I get it. You know, pretty much every single player on the Raptors team shot horribly from three. Let's take a look, shall we? Who shot what where? Okay, OG Anunoby really struggled, man. It wasn't just that offensive foul. It wasn't just, dribbling, creation, everything. He just felt steps slow. But you know what? Give the Knicks some credit. They're a really good defensive team. You know, they have good defenders. they study the scouting report. And OG Anunoby, for all of his, as much as you love him, like he's a pretty limited offensive player. And, you know, if you're going to go up against a team like this with limited offensive players, they are going to make you pay. I'm going to have to share my screen, if you don't mind, when I go to the Knicks side of it. Pascal Siakam. He is now shooting 16 for 81 from three on the season. Pascal Siakam's three-point shooting percentages, I don't know. He is heading into the record books. Like he is slowly getting there. I would implore someone to dig into this, but has an all NBA player ever come out and shot under 20% from three on their first 81 attempts? That would be a really good question to ask. I don't think it's ever happened. I was looking at the worst three-point shooting seasons in NBA history. Currently, Ausar Thompson is the worst three-point shooting season in NBA history. But almost every single player above him, including a Dirk season, a Charles Barkley season, every one of those seasons, no one was attempting 4.5 or 4.1 a game. So this is, you know, guys have shot worse than 20% before, but never on such high volume. I'm pretty sure about that, but I'll check. It's interesting. I mean, you look for nuggets and pockets of hope everywhere. Making history for all the wrong reasons. Maybe not what you want to do, but yikes. Dennis Schroeder goes 1 for 6 from three. Pascal Siakam goes 0 for 4 from three. OG Anunoby goes 1 for 6 from three. Chris Boucher goes 1 for 4. Jalen McDaniels goes 0 for 2. Precious Achiuwa, Malachi Flynn, and Gary Trent Jr. go 0 for 1 apiece. Gary Trent Jr. was starting to build a little bit of momentum there, but he's negative 18 tonight, and you felt it. Precious Achiuwa. I mean, Oh my God. What the hell did I watch tonight with this dude? I mean, that negative 22 is not lying to you. He may as well have had a New York Knicks jersey on. He crashed the glass hard. I will give credit where credit is due. But offensively, in his first stint, I think he set 4 screens for the wrong team. Or he just cuts into a space. He doesn't even notice that there's a player there. I mean, Scottie's just looking at him like, what are you doing? And I'm looking at my TV screen like, I can't believe this is an NBA team. It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen from a professional basketball player. It's just a string of decisions. It's a string of really, really dumb decisions, and it's constant. Tonius, I'm going to let you on really soon. Are you at the ACC? Let me know in the private chat if you're at the ACC. Okay. Hey, I'll let you on real quick. We'll talk about the Knicks after. Hey, Tonius, what's going on, man? Your mic is off.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you guess where I am?
No idea. Where are you?
Oh, okay. I'm taking a vacation in Vegas, and then I went to Caesar's Palace. So I took Rob's advice, or have as much faith. I put 50 on Scottie scoring over 17.5. So that's a very good decision.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I don't support sports gambling, but cool.
I know. Yeah. Like, do it at your own risk, people. Like, just yeah. Do it smartly. Don't do it by emotion. I mean, I kind of did this one by emotion, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, 13 points, 30 points. We never know. We never know. It could go either way.
Yeah, this is the first time I did sports betting. So this is the first time I went to Vegas as a legal age, because I went to Vegas in 1999 and I was like 12 years old, and I'm like, huh. And then I saw in Caesar's Palace, there's all these like screens. I'm like, is that sports betting? Holy crap. So I gave it a try, and made some money there. So I guess in summary, all those TV screens. So I did see the Raptors game, like the fourth quarter, see if we could catch up, but I knew we weren't going to have a chance. So yeah, I think Thibodeau just scouted the team, and it's a very easy scout. Just make the Raptors chuck 3-pointers, because they're not all talented 3-pointers. So he did the right thing, and then just packed the paint. And then
I mean, just constantly we made bad decisions, really bad decisions with the basketball. And ultimately, like, we're not like the worst 3-point shooting team in the league. They're not the best. They're like top 6. They shoot about 3% better than us from 3. So I don't know. I mean, yes, you're forcing, bad 3-point shooters to make shots. I get that. But at the same time, like, it's over penetration. It's a lot of other stuff. It's not just the 3-pointers. It's the quality of threes we're getting, how we're getting them, who's getting them, when they're getting them. So many things. Yeah.
Yes, who's passing the ball to them? Which is, guess who? It's Schroeder. It's like, he's making the right pass, but he throws it there. He throws it there, and like, he has to throw a good pass, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, I think the Knicks offense was a masterclass, man. Like, every time they had an open shooter, somehow they found him. It was like the ball just moves and moves until it finds DiVincenzo in the corner, quickly up top. Like, it just doesn't matter. They always find a high quality, look, and it's like, it's so structured. It's almost impressive. It's really impressive.
Yeah, but what's kind of already a given is, like, if you kick it to DiVincenzo in the corner, it's a high probability going in. The guy is a talented shooter, like, and Brunson too, and RJ Barrett. Well, RJ Barrett and Randle are kind of, it comes and goes, but yeah, the constant is DiVincenzo. Just like, you kick him open, it's got to go in. So
yeah, you can't lose shooters in transition, and the Raptors have pretty poor transition defense, compounded by the fact that they miss a lot of shots, they miss a lot of threes. Long threes equal long rebounds. Long rebounds equal quick transition opportunities. So yeah, they had to be much better than they were today. I think to be honest, I think they lost this game more so on defense than offense, but that's just my take. But yeah. Anyway, man, Absolutely. Thanks for chiming in. Nice
Yeah, no
upbeat
problem.
energy. We could use it right now. This is kind of sad, but I'm glad you made some money on Scottie.
Yeah. But just one last thing. I think
Sure.
the I no era should be over. I know we can't sell him dimes on the dollar, but we're probably going to have to take more of this by the trade deadline.
Just for anyone who's confused about who he's talking about and one, that guy. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Sadly, he was pretty much Scottie's only support tonight.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Like he'll put up the points. The good news is that he puts up the points, keeps the value up. See if there's any dumb GM that don't read the analytics too much, and then just like buy him at face value and package Schroeder with him, and then we get this like young, obedient guard that knows how to make a pass and understands the system, and just give it to Scottie and let Scottie do his passing, because he's got the hands, the big hands. You know, when you have big hands and that basketball mind, everything's in better control. You know, it's just my theory, but it's
certainly a theory worth thinking about. Anyways, man, thanks a lot for calling. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Cheers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we wanted to let Tonius on because he sent me a private message saying that he wanted to get on in 5 minutes. But yes, if you'd like to call in, you got some hilarious stuff to say, you got some wild trades you want to pitch, call in. Let's talk about it. Okay. In terms of, where the game went wrong, I mean, where do we start? Right? I mean, everywhere. It was just yikes. Right? So Jalen McDaniels needs to stop playing basketball. Like, first of all, like, why is Otto not playing? I checked the injury report. He wasn't on it. Was he in street clothes? Like, why? Jalen McDaniels is so bad at basketball right now. It's actually crazy. Like, y'all don't understand. Last game, Darko said he was good. He was negative 26.5 box plus minus that game in 9 minutes. Okay? Like, I'm not saying he's your only problem, but he's a pretty big problem. Guy shoots 35% true shooting. He's a pretty big problem. On a team that already can't shoot, it's a pretty big problem. I think we need to explore the idea of Malachi Flynn maybe not being a rotation player again. Because as much as it was a feel-good story, I think this is one of those cases where what's the bar, right? When he came out for the first 3 games, he looked like he probably should be playing in some second level in Europe. I'm not kidding. I watch a lot of European basketball. There aren't a lot of European point guards who would struggle as bad as he did in the first 3 games. After the first 3 games, he got better. I think he got better. A lot better, actually. And suddenly it was building towards something. And you're like, all right, hypothetically, if this continues to go up, he might actually end the season as a competent backup guard. That would be amazing. We don't have one of those. That would be awesome. He doesn't disrupt things too much. He has shooting potential. Early in the season, he was shooting like 50% from 3. It's kind of fallen off a cliff again. So it turns out that this whole joy thing, or playing with joy, playing, with a smile or whatever, while really nice, it does not actually compensate for the fact that you actually can't play basketball at the NBA level. Not even trying to be rude. Like, maybe that sounds rude. But can we please be honest that you give up a lot in terms of rebounding, in terms of defense, by playing smaller, right? Now, I'm not even saying Malachi was a problem. I'm saying Joe McDaniels was a problem. I'm not even going to say that. There was a lot of problems in starting lineup. Let's talk about it. Jeez. Okay. So I think, where do you start? It's just defensive awareness. It's Dennis Schroeder just getting look, if you think Dennis Schroeder is going to stop Jalen Brunson one-on-one, you're crazy. Jalen Brunson's awesome. Like, he's great at getting to the rim, and now he's got he's shooting 48% from 3. This guy is everything Fred VanVleet thought he was. Okay, and then he takes those 2 charges. The amount of respect I have for Jalen Brunson right now is honestly on some crazy, crazy next level. I've always liked him as a player. All the way going back like way back. Loved him in Dallas. Thought they were stupid for letting him go. But I kind of understood too. I thought the Knicks kind of like overpaid a little bit. Shocking me, man. Shocking. Not see this level of defender, did not see this level of shooter from him, but man, he is really something. Their entire team is good. I mean, can we talk a little bit about how good the Knicks are right now? Like they are a top 5 team in the East. They are playing disciplined. They have honestly not received very much from Julius Randle. They certainly didn't get a hell of a lot from him tonight. Hang on, let me screen share here and y'all can see the Knicks side of this. I mean, they get 20 points from Julius Randle, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. So I stand corrected when I say they didn't get a lot from him. They got enough from him. But I think like they did a good job of limiting his offensive potency, if you will. He made really smart passes out of those situations where they stopped him. I think Scottie did a really good job on him, like for the most part. But 20, 10, and 9 is a far cry from, and on efficient shooting splits is a far cry from how he started out the season. I mean, he and Pascal Siakam started the season out like absolutely playing hog water. And hey, man, Siakam's still there. To some extent, Siakam is still there. In terms of boxes minus, in terms of analytics, Pascal Siakam, despite being the best post scorer in the NBA, I think he's scoring 1.19 points. That's all you got. When you talk about Pascal Siakam, his defense has regressed, his passing has regressed, his efficiency has regressed, his impact metrics are down to 0. I don't know if he posted a positive box plus minus game tonight. I'm inclined to say he probably barely made it, but he's 0. On the season, he is 0 box plus minus. Just to give you an idea of what that means he's not a starter in the NBA right now. Per the analytics, obviously he is a starter, but he's not playing like one. And that's meaningful because not only is he killing your spacing, not only is he, has he spent considerable time during the season killing your rebounding, but now, like, it's hard for me to understand what the hell the plan is here. And we will certainly talk about that before we let on Coach Mo and, Daniel to talk in 2 minutes, in 2-3 minutes. But I really just want to say, like, I don't think the Knicks played so well. It's just there were constant miscommunications all over the board for the Raptors. There are guys going like Scottie lost Dante DiVincenzo like 4 times, and I think he made him pay 3 of those times. It's like a team that was sleepwalking, dude. I mean, you can say that they got threes and they made threes and you didn't make threes. I mean, you were shooting contested threes. They were shooting open threes. It is a difference. Most NBA teams can hit open threes. You made them look like superstars. They shot almost 10% better tonight. They shot 7% better tonight than they do on the season. That's significant. Once again, you struggle from the line, right? Oh, man. Just tough. Just a tough loss. On the upside, Nick Nurse loses tonight. That makes me feel 5% better. Hang on. Let's pull up the team stats for a sec. So, in terms of team stats, you get out rebounded. No surprises. Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, great rebounders, but I think Jakob Poeltl, Precious Achiuwa did a pretty good job. Scottie Barnes did a good job of mucking it up in there, right? Assists, almost dead even. Steals, almost dead even. Like, you get more blocks. Okay. You once again keep your turnovers relatively low, but again, there's a lot of one-on-one going on. They come out in the third quarter, there's a lot of one-on-one. I'm sorry, like, if you break down this game, there are guys who are going into 4 defenders. It's called over-penetrating. Getting a paint touch at all costs is not necessarily smart offense. You don't always go to the paint. When the paint is packed, you find the open shooter. It's like these guys don't know how to play basketball sometimes. It's weird. It's like Darko is trying to program cyborgs on how to play basketball. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. They led pretty much wire to wire. I mean, the Raptors made it close a couple of times, but couldn't quite break through. No surprises here. The Raptors, decide that their offensive strategy is to win the points in the paint battle. Congratulations. You keep winning the points in the paint battle, but you keep losing the fucking game. And there's a reason for that, because this is 2023. You cannot build an offense, or much less a half-court offense, even though it's marginally better than what you were doing before, around post scoring. I don't know, man. I mean, they finished better from the line than I thought they would. They missed a lot of them early. It kind of breaks your back. I think Scottie played okay. Like, I think he played reasonably well. I mean, what do you want me to say? He played super great. I think he played good. Like, offensively, he was tough. I like how many, dude, if he got the ball the number of times he wanted the ball, he probably would have 40 tonight. I think when you're looking at scores and you say this guy's a 20-point per game scorer, this guy's 25-point per game scorer, I think you need to look at how much their team scores as a ratio or a percentage, right? It's easy to be a 20-point per game scorer when your team regularly drops 120. Hard to be a 20-point per game scorer when your team sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, does not break 100 points. Worth noting. Want to say one thing. During the second quarter, the Raptors, Kayla Gray interviewed Masai Ujiri, and it was Giants of Africa night, and very cool. Very cool. That entire program has built up so many young men, and in a continent that so desperately needs infrastructure and investment. So I've always respected Masai Ujiri from that front, because I fully identify with that mission statement. But then the conversation went to the Raptors. And he said, we're building around Scottie Barnes. I mean, biggest open secret in the NBA, the Raptors are building around Scottie Barnes. This is building around Scottie Barnes? Do you know how many times he looked over at a teammate tonight in utter disbelief at what they were doing? Utter disbelief. Shock. Really. Hey, what up, man? First super chat of December to my man B-Mac, Brian Macon. I don't want to say you deserve all the credit for how good Scottie is right now at shooting, but I think you deserve a lot of credit. It's not all of it, but it's a lot. It's a lot of it. And every single time I see Scottie dancing after he hits a three, I'm thinking Brian's probably like laughing right now. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna save my shit talk for the end of the year. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, and shout outs to Handle Life. And yeah, man. I mean, I'm not kidding. I heard Jack Armstrong compare Scottie Barnes stepping into a three-pointer to Steph Curry. I mean, what planet are we on right now? This is fucking awesome. Love it. All right. I was saying, I don't think Scottie had the greatest game. I think he lost his man too much on defense. And honestly, it's on his teammates too. He hit 2 threes in a row, and then he got frozen out of the offense 3 times in a row. And I mean, I know a lot of times people say, oh, he didn't want it. Oh, he was kind of being passive. But no, this time he was standing at the top of the key saying, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. Wasn't coming his way. You need to get him some smarter teammates, man. Get him some smarter teammates. Get him some teammates who can actually dribble off of a pick and roll. Like, I'm looking around the league and I'm seeing guards galore, like dudes who can actually do this. Jaden Ivey comes to mind. I mean, there are a lot. Cam Thomas, there's a lot. Like, in every single draft, there's like 3 of these guys. Pick one. Trade for one. Colin Sexton. Jordan Clarkson. Can we get Scottie some talent, man? I mean, he was a little loose with the ball. I didn't love that. Just to keep it a buck, keep it a stack. He was a little bit loose with the ball early on. But he was by far your best player. He's been your best player all season. Like not even close. I think the gap between Scottie and his next best teammate is about as big as the gap between any player in the league and their next best teammate. Go down the line. Maybe the biggest gap is between Jokic and Jamal Murray, but like it's close. Or maybe Tyrese Halliburton. But like after that, it's pretty much Scottie and whoever the hell you want to say is his second best teammate right now. He needs help. But if we are agreeing that you're telling me that, okay, like he is the guy that you're building around, and Masai Ujiri is saying this is the guy we're building around, then I have a lot of questions about this roster. A lot. I don't get it. You need to put players around him who can move without the basketball. I mean, how many assists would he have tonight if a teammate of his could catch a pass and actually, I don't know, dunk the basketball? It's shocking. I don't think Dennis played that well tonight. I know, the broadcast group's going crazy over, every single thing that he's been doing, like, the assists and the turnovers, etc. I've been impressed by some of his dimes that he's thrown. They look flashy. They look great, but they're simple reads, man. They're super simple reads. Like they're guy there, I'm here, run this way, make a pass. Like when Scottie's making a pass, like the pass he gave to Boucher that he fucked up in the first quarter, holy shit. Like you didn't see that. Nobody saw that. He saw that. There is a difference. There is a huge difference. Anyway, let's bring on Coach Mo. But if the goal is building around Scottie Barnes, this roster ain't it. Like you need, like, yes, sir. I mean, I love that this community, because y'all remember the entire thing that we had, the interview with Brian last year. And he confidently told you, like, the work is the work. He's putting in the work. This channel has been conclusive on this. I'm not kidding. I was watching a reel that I made last year. We called it a jinx reel for Scottie, where I was saying, like, he's taken this step as a jump shooter and then he kind of regressed. But this was there last year. He's been working on this for a long time. I, for one, am really, really happy that he is seeing some of the fruits of this. Now, I would just like to get him some help, because at 22 years old, y'all might think this is really young because you're used to guys like OG and Pascal taking that step, proverbial step, whatever, at 24, 25. But really, in terms of NBA stars, like real stars, 22 is like kicking off prime. So I'm not saying he's there, like he's not even close. But this is that time that you need to start thinking, oh, like we need to start thinking about like the next 5 years, like right now, playoffs, competing, whatever, because he's there. You put a competent roster around him right now, he's taking you to the second round. Bet money. So, I'm curious to see what you get. I heard a report today that there's no market for Zach LaVine. Interesting. If you supermax or max out Pascal Siakam and he continues to regress as a shooter, I promise you it will become the worst contract in the NBA next season. Or one of. So, yeah, chop, Masai Ujiri, make some moves. Okay, Coach Mo, what up?
No, just that last thing you said. You give Siakam the contract he wants. He's now an untradeable contract. And he's a negative asset, and you got to attach something to get rid of him. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe next year Yak becomes something where you got to attach something. Because my brother asked me today, he's like, I was showing him the salaries of the Raptors and Knicks, right? Because I'm like, look at DiVincenzo and what he's providing, right? And I'm like, yo, what do you think he makes, right? What do you think Dante DiVincenzo makes? Do you know what he makes? He makes 10.9 this year, 11.4 next year, 11.9 in 25-26, and 12.5 in 26-27. Right?
So you're saying he's underpaid?
Tonight he was.
He's underpaid all the time, man.
He's underpaid all the time.
Check what Isaiah Hartenstein makes, and check what Jakob Poeltl makes.
Oh no, crazy. No.
Yeah.
Hartenstein makes 9 million, 9.2, and he's expiring. Mitchell Robinson makes 15.6 this year, 14.3 the next year, and 12.9, 25-26. Listen, forget trades. Forget
it's New York, man. It's New York.
Forget being stagnant. We have no value contracts besides OG, and that will not be a value contract next year. So
fair.
And you touched on it earlier. I don't know what Malachi Flynn does. Today, he did 9 minutes of cardio. He is literally just there. He's literally just there. He has 4 assists. I guarantee you all 4 were simple reads.
Yeah.
An advantage generated off somebody. He just was the pass to the pass. That's it. He does nothing. There's no purpose to him playing besides eating up minutes. That's the reality. And you said get Scottie actual talent. Let's count the non-NBA caliber players playing for this team right now. Jalen McDaniels, Precious Achiuwa, Malachi Flynn. That's 3. They're not NBA caliber players right now.
Okay.
They're not. And that's not arguable.
Fair. I mean, you know what pisses me off the most is that if you I'm not okay.
Scottie should have had at least 8 assists tonight. Achiuwa refuses to give him an assist.
You know who's a player?
He flat out refuses.
You know who 2 players that I think really work well with Scottie that are not playing right now? Take a guess.
That are on the team.
That are existing on your roster, either
for sure, Otto Porter and Christian Koloko.
I mean, Christian Koloko can't play, but it's a guard.
Temple.
It's a guard.
Temple.
Weirdly enough, I think Garrett Temple would be good with him, but it's someone younger.
Oh, Freedom Liberty.
Yes, sir. Honestly, man, I watch enough of this guy. I watch him with the Windy City Bulls, watch him in the Summer League. I'm a big fan. I like him a lot. So what's driving me absolutely crazy right now is not that we don't have talent. I mean, I'm not saying that Javon Freeman Liberty is Jaden Ivey in terms of potential, but he might be a better player right now than Jaden Ivey, and he's not playing. And I don't get it because he's 24 years old.
Yeah.
And Malachi Flynn's 24, 25 years old.
Yeah. No.
He's
not 24, 25. He's 25.
I'll bet money that you put Malachi Flynn and Javon Freeman Liberty against each other in 7 games. They both have the same team. Javon outplays him every game. Yep. So this political, I don't get it, man. Other organizations do not work like this. We drafted you. It's like we drafted you. We drafted Chris Jeffries. I mean, technically we traded for him when he was back then. It was like the 27th, 28th overall pick, 29th overall pick. Okay. Some fans had high hopes for what Chris Jeffries might be. Bro, he never got off the pine. He barely ever played. Why? Because he wasn't very good. And teams found out about that. We didn't play Bruno Caboclo rotation minutes. He wasn't ready. He didn't play. So, c'est la vie. He had a lot more potential than Malachi Flynn, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's showing it right. And he's showing it right now in Serbia right now. Like, man, get that guy a fucking 10-day. Shit. He is definitely better than at least 5 people on your roster right now. I am most annoyed that I feel like somebody else would synergize these lineups better. I don't understand why Jalen McDaniels is playing. I don't get it at all. I really, honestly, the Malachi stuff I can almost understand.
I know why Jalen McDaniels is playing. Let me tell you why right now. Let me tell you why right now.
Why?
Because he is signed for $4.5 million this year, guaranteed, and next year for $4.7 million guaranteed. He's now a negative asset. No one wants it. So he's dead money unless he's providing.
Bro, if you had just sat him and never played him, he would have more value right now than he does when he's
again overpaying for.
Bro, I'm at a point right now where if Pascal Siakam and Jalen McDaniels and Precious Achua had not played a single game to date this season, they would have better value than they do right now. You want
and the record wouldn't be much different, honestly.
And the record probably wouldn't be that much different. I think you might actually be better. That's the crazy thing, because you would be forced to play Otto more minutes.
The thing that's so strange to watch in this game nowadays is Pascal Siakam is at a point where he's refusing to shoot open threes. And he's now just driving. There are possessions where he starts the game shooting, he misses a couple, and he said, all right.
He took 4.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah, he took 4, but a lot of them were early. He says, oh, they're not working. The problem is I'm going to drive into a crowded paint. Jakob's there.
Are you surprised defenses are still sort of respecting him there?
Are they really kind of respecting him, though?
I mean, they ran him off the line a couple of times, believe it or not. I was shocked. I was like, whoa, they're doing a pretty good job in the scouting report, but they really haven't figured out that Scottie can shoot and Pascal can't. Because they weren't really guarding Scottie for 3. And I was just like, are these guys stupid? Like, he just drilled 2 on them, and they're just going under the screen. I'm like, oh, okay.
I also, what are your thoughts? This is weird to me, okay? Dennis Schroeder played 37 minutes, team high. Like, he didn't play particularly well. He didn't. He shot 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. He had 9 assists, but those are all – a couple of them were nice. But, again, he's going to have high assists because he handles the ball up, plays 37 minutes. But
I liked him early in this game. I was like, oh, might he have maybe changed a little bit.
Those pitch-ahead passes, that's what got Scottie going. He just passed it ahead. Like, this insistent on him dribbling up the court at half speed has to die. And in early, it stopped, and guess what? Scottie got 8 quick points. What's the point of dribbling up the court, making sure their defense is set?
Yeah.
Go from there. And then I'm going to do a Jakob.
I kind of appreciate this, the call that Jack Armstrong made on that Scottie dunk. Do you remember it?
He said that looked like Lowry.
Looked like Pascal Siakam. He's like, oh my God, shades of Pascal Siakam. And then they show Scottie dunking, and he's like, Spicy Pete. And I was just like, oh, that's what we're doing now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what? Like, Lowry pitching ahead to DeRozan, like Lowry pitched ahead to everybody. Why Siakam? That's so weird. Anyways, I mean, Scottie does that all the time too. Scottie pitching ahead to Siakam. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but my beef with Schroeder getting high minutes is we don't like, when things aren't working, you say, okay, I'm gonna put so Siakam, OG, and Scottie should just play regardless because they're versatile. They're our 3 best players, right? So those are a given. I think on a game like today in the fourth quarter where you don't have it, just sit Dennis, sit Jakob, bring Boucher because he was playing well, and put Gary or somebody and like just shake things up. But it's like, to me, I just don't understand him playing regardless of situation because you can't play big, right? And I don't know why Darko played Jakob the whole, like at the end of the fourth quarter when clearly you desperately need offense. Clearly you need points quickly. What's Jakob doing on the court?
Right.
At that point, what purpose does he serve? Because a lot of times coaches.
I mean, it's technically efficient offense. He is literally leading the league in field goal percentage. Worth noting. He's shooting like 74%.
If you're down 10 and there's 2 minutes left and you're struggling to score, don't you think you should open driving lanes for your best players?
No, I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you. This is a team that's very lost right now. Like, on the one hand, they want efficient offense. And technically, Jakob shooting 74% in the paint or 74% from the field is technically the most efficient offense on your entire team.
But we traded 2s for 3s tonight.
Right. And that's eventually and ultimately, Jakob Poeltl is not necessarily the greatest defender right now. Okay. Nope. I think that's me putting it very politely. He's gotten absolutely taken to the woodshed by bigs. Like, he's not necessarily guarding the best in the paint. There are plenty of times tonight where, he's right there. I mean, he's got 7'4", 7'5" wingspan. He doesn't even put up a hand. His reaction was late, right?
So he's Randle posted him up. late in the fourth quarter, and I literally thought to myself, what purpose does he serve right now?
I liked
If
the
we're ahead or it's
overall
close, I get it.
scheme against Randle. Like, I mean, he made them pay because he didn't force things, and that's really smart on Julius Randle's part. Because I mean, like, I think Pascal Siakam in the same situation would have forced things. But like, you could notice like Scottie pushing him towards help every single time. He was forcing him to turn, and he was just like pushing him out of bounds, and then he would force him against the baseline, and then boom, Julius Randle is like forced to make this really off target, but credit to him, man. He's finding the corner shooter. I just don't think the Raptors played with enough force and enough discipline. And you faced a team that just did. They played with a tremendous amount of focus, discipline, and overall, like, I think they just played with intention. Like they knew exactly what they were doing. There was like a lot of discipline and focus, So they're like pushing it to Randle. Okay, now where do the shooters need to be? Yo, I can't tell you how many times the Raptors shooters are not where they're supposed to be. It's like two guys bunched up together in the corner. One guy's looking at the other guy like, "What are you doing here?" And the guy's saying, "Move, move, move."
That's the IQ.
Lewis,
That's the IQ. That's the IQ. That's Boucher.
it is, and I mean, like, look, like, I trust that Darko's offense would work with better players. Like, for instance, Dennis Schroeder getting downhill works. Not for him though.
Yeah,
it would work if it was Jalen Brunson. So if you swap Jalen Brunson and Dennis Schroeder, you probably are like the second best team in the East right now. That's the gap. Or like if you could take, I don't know, DiVincenzo and swap him out for like a Jalen McDaniels. If you just swap out those two pieces, you're probably a lot better, right? But the problem is you keep bringing in these guys who shoot 37%, 38% on some other team, and then they forget how to shoot for you. So then the question becomes, why? And also, if you're so thirsty and so desperate for three-point shooting, why is it that you refuse to play some of your better three-point shooters? Grady is not getting minutes right now. He put up a pretty solid effort against the G League. I can't understand the decision of going Jalen McDaniels over Grady right now. Like the gap is so marginal between these two players, but Grady gives you a little bit more playmaking, and I think a little bit more shooting gravity. Like I think he has more of a reputation even right now as a shooter, and guys like really, really pay attention to him.
And you're playing,
because he's kind of got the rep, right? He's like a white guy who shoots. You know what I mean? Like they pay attention to him like that, and that creates space. So like the best Grady game so far this season has been vastly better than the best Jalen McDaniels game.
And you're playing Precious, you're playing Flynn, and so you're already on this development. You're doing a quasi development. Might as well throw in there because those guys wet the bed every other game too. So
yeah, I'm with you.
Why can't he wet the bed? They're wetting the bed too.
Yeah. Anyways, any final thoughts, Coach Mo?
Yeah, the difference was the bench. They have DiVincenzo coming. They have Hart coming. They have Hartenstein. I mean, that's the difference. Yeah. They got people coming off the bench that are competent, that you can trust.
I really like Chris Boucher today, though. I can't believe I didn't talk about him yet.
He's our best bench player. He's our best bench player. And time again, one thing I'll give credit to Nick Nurse was he goes to the hot hand. There were plenty of games Boucher was ending.
Yeah.
Not Darko. No, not Darko. Not Darko.
Agreed.
Darko does template. He has a template. He sticks to his template, regardless of what's going on. When Barnes scored a quick 8 points, he sat down, and I made this joke to my brother. I said, listen, if you're the opposing coach and Barnes comes out scorching hot, as soon as the game clock goes under 7 minutes, call a timeout. He'll bench him himself. Get him out the game. Templates, bro. Darko could coach his team via Zoom.
That's funny. Anyways, man.
He doesn't care what's going on.
Yeah. All right, man. Peace. Have a good one. See ya. All right. We got Jazzy goes Jazzy goes Omnum and Nathan Abraham. Hey, Jazzy, what's up, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. First time caller?
Yeah. I was like, we're 20 games into the season now, right?
Yes.
Almost a quarter of the way through the season. And I gave Darko the benefit of the doubt through like the first 10 or so games. And I'm just looking at these rotations, right? I'm like, how are you going to you were talking in the beginning of the season how Otto Porter Jr. is like such a high IQ basketball player, right? Along with Scottie, and like a couple of the Jakob Poeltl and whatnot.
Yeah.
And all I'm thinking right now is Darko has access to information from practice to the games and whatnot. It's like, how you not? I don't know how Otto is performing in practice, but like, how you gonna bench? I don't know how many DNPs this guy has. Like, I feel like every single game I've watched of the Raptors so far is either be a DNP or he's played like, I don't know, under 15 minutes or something in the game.
Yeah. There might be like a longer term vision of like, okay, we're going to put you on 5 games, 6 games, whatever. Okay, so here's the thing. I remember last year, Thaddeus Young, Fred VanVleet, whatever, they came into the season. They were like, okay, we're going to ramp up and then we're going to be ready to go by January. And that's pretty much when, Fred's season kind of turned around, right? Right around January. Because he was coming off the hip thing in the off season. And so it happens that way, where people have a different plan for the season, and it's a long season. It's 82 games, right? So you have certain plans like, okay, first 20 games, we're going to give this guy a run. We saw it last year with Christian Coloco. We saw a lot of Christian Coloco early. We saw not a lot of him later. Not just because we traded for Jakob Poeltl, but largely because that was sort of the plan. You're going to give him minutes early in the NBA, get him humbled, and then send him down to the G League. So I think that could be the case where Otto's more like being saved for the second half. Also, maybe they think of him as a trade piece. He's a very valuable player. I think if I'm an opposing general manager and I'm a contender, I'm asking for him in any deal. Any deal. So can't trade him if he's injured. So that might be it too.
That's true, but
there might be like some sort of deal like on the table that's like, a couple weeks away from being done or a week away from being done. And if he's a part of that deal, you can't risk him getting injured and screwing it all up. I don't know.
Maybe, but I feel like if that's the case, if we're looking at trade value, right, you want to at least show GMs what he can do on the floor, right?
GMs know what he can do. He's a vet. Like, I mean, every analytic in the world would tell you right now that he's an overwhelmingly positive rotation player in the NBA. You don't have rotation players. You're playing non-rotation players, rotation minutes. Jalen McDaniels, Malachi Flynn are third stringers on almost every team in the NBA. Those guys are veteran minimum contract guys. So you're elevating guys who would be number 13, 14, 15 on some roster over guys who would be 7, 6. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. So and it's not even that they're that young. So I don't know. Yeah. I think more so than anything, it's frustrating because it's in small doses. Like you lose the game in small doses. Like who thought that OG plus the bench lineup was going to work? I mean, even the commentators are sitting there like, this probably won't work. And Darko's just like, worked so great last game. Let's try it again. But again, bigger vision, right? They have development in their mind. Maybe this is like, hey, we got to get OG 5 minutes every game with a lineup where he's the best player. And we got to give him those 5 minutes. And somehow, we don't know what game these guys are playing behind the scenes in terms of like their larger plan for the season. But I will tell you, there was an article by Louis Zatzman today on Raptors Republic, which said that the Raptors have slowly but surely under Darko Rajakovic put in like it's the best offense in the NBA in terms of expected efficiency. They're just not hitting shots. So
other than that, other than Darko's rotations, I'm really upset about their defense. Like I didn't watch the entire game, but I think in the third quarter, the Knicks, I think Josh Hart, he blew by Pascal. He took a jumper, I think, and then he grabbed his own offensive rebound. And then I'm just looking at Pascal. he's standing out by the 3-point line. He's not even getting back on defense. And then as soon as Josh Hart gets the offensive rebound, then he starts going. But by then, Josh Hart makes the putback. And I'm like, the Raptors defense, they don't get back on transition. There might be some plays that, Pascal or somebody on defense might be able to stop the offensive possession. But I feel like too many times in transition that the Raptors aren't getting back. They aren't playing with enough energy to get back on defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, they've been really bad, and their offense does not help.
Yeah,
really,
offense, it's make or miss. It's make or miss. But defense is all about energy. It's how much energy you're putting into the game.
I mean, it's not always about energy. Like, in my opinion, like, you can have all the energy, but if you're in the wrong place, you're getting beat every time, right? If your scheme is bad, you're getting beat. If you're not going to execute your scheme, you're getting beat. If you don't, if the scouting report says force a guy left and you keep letting him go right, you're going to lose. That's how you lose in the NBA. You don't execute the game plan, you lose. You execute the game plan, you give yourself a chance to win. The Knicks tonight executed the game plan to perfection. I could probably go down and break the Knicks game film. I think they made maybe 7 or 8 mistakes tonight. I think the Raptors made about 200. It's bad, right? Like, you don't lose a game like this without making a lot of mistakes. And again, to the casual fan, they're going to say, boom, they have better shooters than you. You don't have shooters. You lost. It's not that. It's not that. They are fantastically disciplined. I mean, they made mistakes for sure. Defensively, I think they went under on Scottie a couple of times. They, maybe a couple of times they didn't get back on transition. They didn't rotate. But, I mean, it was minimal. It was like once every 7 or 8 possessions they were slipping up. I mean, for us, it was like, sometimes it was like 8 possessions in a row where we made multiple mistakes. Like, you cannot win against a team that's better than you playing like this, even when you're at home. So I think they just played with force, and I think they took it. They took it, and kudos to them. Yeah. Any final thoughts, man?
I don't care if the Raptors win or lose. I just want to see improvement. Like,
fair.
Even if in the beginning of the season you weren't getting back on defense, or you didn't understand defensive schemes all that well,
right?
As long as I see, like, okay, when you're closing out defenders on the 3-point line, like in the past, you were jumping out at them. Now you're staying grounded and whatnot. As long as I see the mistakes going down, like Scottie in the beginning of the season, a lot of people were saying he had a high turnover rate, right? But I feel like you're seeing his.
It was mainly one game. It was one game where he had like a lot of turnovers. He had I think 5 turnovers in that game. And Samson came out with his little tweet about like, hey, it's going to be high turnovers or whatever. And some people started complaining about it. But honestly, if you want to compare his turnover rate to Cade's,
or maybe even maybe Jakob Poeltl is a better example.
Jakob is a hell of a turnover prone, yes.
Yeah, so
he's gotten better too.
Turnovers are good and getting lower. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see the improvement in my team. But if I see consecutive games in which I don't see the improvement in the things we're doing badly, I don't know. It just doesn't make me excited to watch Raptors basketball, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to you, I will say this: I get where you're coming from, but it's never going to be linear. Right? There has to be sometimes the process is very, very multifaceted. I'm not even suggesting that the Raptors have some sort of master plan, in which case, everything's going to click by game 25, boom, But I think there is some element of, hey, we need intel on who we have in OG. So we need to give him some opportunities here before we trade away Pascal and anoint OG to second option. We need to know what he'd actually do, in that situation. He's never had that opportunity, right? It's the same thing with Dennis Schroeder. It's the same thing with Jalen McDaniels. I think it's the same thing with all these guys. It's all intel gathering. That's the only thing I can think of is in terms of why Otto is not playing. It's he's so sure, exactly who he is. He's there's no player on this team that I am more 100% confident is going to have a positive impact on the game when he comes in than Otto. He's the only player that I know 100% is going to be positive no matter what. Scottie's close, But Otto is my 100% bet. Like, if he steps on the court for 5 minutes, those are good 5 minutes. If he steps on the court for 15 minutes, it's a good 15 minutes. He is, to me, a perfect basketball player for
I
what
just
he
hope
is.
he doesn't get displeased with the situation that he's in, being on the bench for so many games.
He's not that type of person. Like, he understands the longer term vision. He's a total team player. He's always been this way. It's a remarkable quality. Garrett, Thad, they're professionals, man. Like, they come in before the game, they shoot around, even though they know they're not going to play. They're just setting the tone for the younger guys. They understand they're being paid millions of dollars to play basketball, and they're super pro about it. The Raptors are very lucky. They have like really, really good veterans, specifically those three guys. Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, man, have a good
great
one.
talking to you, Rob.
Yeah, great talking to you, man. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye. Peace. Okay, we got Nathan Abraham. Nathan, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, can you hear me?
I can. What's up?
Oh, nothing much. I just wanted to say, big fan of you. I've been watching you and listening to your, I've been watching you for a while, and you're very insightful. And every time I always watch the Raptors, after the game, win or loss, I always try to, come and listen to and watch your streams after the game. So just wanted to just acknowledge that.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the Raptors, it's frustrating, because I think the biggest frustration for me is the fact that, like, I guess it's just the direction. Like, it feels like we're kind of in the middle, like, because obviously we can't really have a losing season because we gave up our pick for Poeltl last year. So it's like we're kind of in a position where we kind of have to win.
Mhm.
But I guess maybe the lack of direction is what frustrates me about this team the most. Like, I don't care if we lose, but I just feel like with this Raptors team, it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, Masai does say that, they want to win, but it just doesn't seem like that.
Yeah. I mean, we are very middle of the pack, aren't we? I think we're just treading water. Kind of playing the waiting game. This is a very patient team. Masai Ujiri has waxed poetic about patience many, many times. I think there is something maybe being too patient. Maybe it's not even patience at that point. It's just indecision and procrastination, right? It's a fine line. And, there's this thought process. I think some people have a compulsion to action and some people have a compulsion towards inaction. I don't know what the default wiring is for one person or another, but some people are just wired like, okay, things aren't going well, I got to do something. And then some people are like, things aren't going well, I need to sit back and observe. Different schools of thought, right? I'm not necessarily sure which one's better. I am sure, however, that an extreme on either side is always a bad thing. There's a lot to be said that not making decisions is a decision. You chose not to trade Fred VanVleet. That was a decision. He left. That was also a decision. You got nothing out. You got nothing back. That was a decision. You choose to not trade Pascal Siakam right now because you think you can make this fucking thing work, and you think there's going to be some magical trade for him at the deadline, and you think at the deadline we'll make it work in the offseason, and then he signs with somebody else, or worse, you sign him for a max and then he regresses, exactly as I've been saying he's going to regress next year. Now you're holding on to an albatross contract that you can't get rid of. You don't necessarily have the pick equity. You're gonna have to get rid of picks to get rid of him, like 2 years from now when you realize that him and Scottie doesn't work long term. And then you handicap yourself, like 3 years down the line, you handicap yourself because you don't have enough money to sign guys to put around Scottie in his prime. And he leaves. You know what I mean? Like, I'm painting out like a 6-year disaster window, but that's really how these things work, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like whenever you look at any championship in hindsight, you always ask yourself, were there warning signs? Yeah, sure. There were tons of warning signs, right? So yeah, I really, really hope that they have a master plan when it comes to Siakam. I can't do anything. I wish I could. I wish I could go into their office and make a trade right now. I would literally trade him for just about any half decent package. And it wouldn't be the best return, but what it would be is a start of something. It would be
Yeah.
a start of a fresh page. And personally, I value that. I do value that. I'm not so nitpicky that I'm like, no, we got to have like this perfect offer. No, actually, because right now he is a $37 to $38 million expiring contract attached to an all NBA player who's playing like a replacement level role player, who's shooting the worst 3-point shooting player in the NBA. If he was not attempting many shots, like if you think about this, if Pascal Siakam was attempting as many shots as OG Anunoby, there's a very good case to be made that he'd be having a worse season right now than Emmanuel Quickly. Just to put that in
Yeah, like
perspective.
I feel like depending on where he gets his shots from, like when he was playing with with Kawhi Leonard in 2019, or even when he was like a part of the bench mob, like a lot of his buckets were at the rim, right? Whether it was like on cuts or on post ups, like he was a lot better. Like he was a lot better too when a lot of his buckets were around the rim. But I feel like now, like I feel like he's taking a lot harder shots than he should, and I feel like that's just not. I feel like that's just not his game. I feel like he's trying to be somebody that he's not. I don't know if you'd agree with that. Like just like offensively.
You mean because he's taking a lot of 3-pointers?
Well, yeah, and I would say like the mid-range shots as well too. Like a lot of just like
He's
like
always he's taken a lot of mid-range shots last year. He's I think
but
look, man,
but
like honestly,
do you
earlier
think
in
he
this
can make those at a high level?
so what's the alternative?
Y-
Him just driving into the paint that's completely packed with Jakob Poeltl, or
Yeah, that is
him
true.
just posting up and doing his little spin thing. Like, look,
Yeah,
man,
that
like
is true.
at the end of the day, like Jakob, and Scottie all need the exact same thing. They need space. They need space
Yeah.
to operate. Jakob's drives and dives to the paint are going to be so much more effective if he has more space. If Jakob was playing for the Celtics, he'd be a better player. If Scottie was playing for the Celtics, he'd be a better player. Guess what? Pascal Siakam playing for the Celtics, he'd be a better player too. Like, yeah, like it's.
I agree with you though. That is facts with what you're saying.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it just comes down to understanding that these pieces don't fit. And the more you play pieces that don't fit together, you kind of tank the value of all of them. Now, the only
Right.
player who's really thriving right now is Scottie Barnes. And he's the only player, he and Jakob Poeltl really are the only players on your entire team right now that are having a, what I call, good season. Dennis Schroeder's having an okay season. OG's having an okay season. Siakam's having a disastrous season. Gary's having a disastrous season. Everyone's having a disastrous season except for Scottie, pretty much. And the guys I mentioned. The problem is you're not trying to trade Scottie. So the only guy that you absolutely will never trade is the only guy playing super well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chris Boucher is actually having a pretty good season too. So
he is, yeah.
But like, yeah, like I mean, there is a lot to be said for recency bias and how general managers react. If Pascal Siakam came out this season and averaged 40% from three instead of 20% from three for like 10 games, like even the last 10 games, just a 10-game sample would probably boost his trade value quite significantly to a team that's out there looking at him saying, how will he fit next to my star? But if you're at Dallas, if you're in Atlanta, whoever you are, you're looking at this guy and you're like, this guy is providing negative spacing right now. He's not just not providing spacing like he was last year. He's providing negative spacing, which means we are about 3 to 4 games away, if he continues to shoot like this, from teams doing to him what Indiana did to Scottie Barnes last year, which is they just step away.
Ooh, yeah.
And the minute that happens, it's over.
Yeah.
Like it's over, because it's one thing to do it to Scottie Barnes, who's 21-year-old second-year player who's developed a reputation as a non-shooter last year. It's a completely other thing to do it to a 2-time All-NBA guy chasing a max contract. If some team out there really wants to tank his trade value, do that to him next game, and you'll see how fast that thing goes down. Because once teams see that you're not willing to, and I mean, of course, the part on this that's going to matter is the reason that you're not stepping down on him or stepping that far back on him is because he can still drive to the paint. So if you give him that sort of head of steam, he's still going to make you pay. So that's really like what's, I think, stopping teams from just sagging off of him is they know that if they give him the space, he'll drive.
Right.
Whereas Scottie last year, if you were giving him the space, he passed. So maybe that's I'm trying to think like why a team wouldn't back off a 20% 3-point shooter, but they're certainly not scrambling to get to him like late. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if the ball finds him in the corner, they're certainly not abandoning a rebounding assignment to get to him. So it is hurting you, but not in a way that's so blatantly obvious. Like they're just like daring him to shoot, because I think they're expecting that if they did that, he would just step into a drive or step into a mid-range shot or maybe even make them pay. I have no idea. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't know. Do you think that that Pascal like is hindering Scottie's growth and potential? Like his presence on the team? Like do you think, because like a lot of people say that like they can't play together, like they're kind of like counteractive of each other, but do you think like
No,
like
I think they could play together. I think they could play together. They just can't play on the same court as Jakob, and Jakob is just better than Siakam right now. That might sound really strange to say, but like let's just be honest. Neither one of these guys can shoot threes right now, right?
Right.
I think Jakob's a slightly better defender, and he's shooting like 20% better from like if the goal is paint scoring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jakob's a better player. If the goal is paint defense, Jakob's a better player. So really right now, I think it's worthwhile to just ask yourself, is Jakob Poeltl actually doing more to help you win than Pascal Siakam? And the answer is sort of. And that's kind of crazy to say, but it's kind of true.
And he's
a better rebounder. He's better boxing out. He's better screener. He does a lot of other things.
He's just as good as a passer.
They're pretty close. I think they're pretty close as passers too, to be honest. So the only thing that's really holding Siakam's season up right now is volume of attempts, volume of shots, volume of minutes. So if you gave Jakob Poeltl, like, I mean, not that Jakob's ever been an ISO post guy, but like if you just gave him post touches, I mean, what do you think he would do with them? You think he would score like? You think he'd just miss all his shots?
No, he shoots
70%
from the field.
Exactly.
Like he has like one of the highest field goal percentages in the NBA.
In fairness, he's not creating his shots, and that's probably why his field goal percentage is so high. I'm not suggesting that if you threw it into the post and just said, "Here, go shoot," that he shoots 70%. But I'm certainly telling you, like, I mean, he's not going to shoot like below 55%. So it's like at that point, you just start to trade off. You're like, okay, well, if my goal is like if Pascal Siakam's going to morph into a paint scorer, right?
Right.
Like the whole point of Siakam was three-level scorer who can break down the defense. Kind of can't really break down the defense. Kind of not a 3-level scorer. So barely a 2-level scorer at this point. He's basically doing like all of his damage in the paint. Like everything's in the paint right now. So it's like really a 1-level scorer who can't really hit his free throws.
Yeah.
It's getting there. I mean, kudos to Darko, Rajakovic, and the Raptors, structure to keep his numbers kind of respectable. But to any general manager who's really paying attention, he is not one of the top 55 players in the NBA right now. He's certainly paid like it.
Ooh, yeah. No, I agree with you. I also agree too, like that, like on paper, or just if you're just like a casual fan, like if you were to say that, like if Pascal Siakam was better than Jakob Poeltl, a lot of people would go crazy. But like the way you broke it down, like they're like and even on impact as well too, like they are very similar. Which I mean, speaks volumes about Siakam's struggles this season. But do you think, I'm sorry to keep asking you questions, but I was gonna say, do you think the new style that Darko brings is kind of like affecting how each player plays because of how Nick Nurse played, like especially the last 2 years? Like I know you're really good with the statistics and all that stuff, but like from what I saw, like in Nick Nurse's offense, they were very ISO heavy, which was like maybe beneficial for players like Pascal or Gary Trent Jr. Um,
He's still getting a ton of isolation touches. He's still doing a lot of his, catches in the mid post. He's pretty much like he's abandoned what they were doing earlier in the season. I mean, he's not nearly as ball dominant. His usage is slightly lower, but I mean, his usage climbed a lot. Like he started the season out 22, 23%. He's like been solidly above 30, 29, 28 for the last little bit. Um, I'll certainly I'll certainly look. I'll like after we're done. Like Darian is on next after you. After talk to Darian, I'll show you guys the analytics and box score for Siakam and look at his usage, and you can look at his shot chart year over year. It's not that different. I mean, yeah, it's the offense is different for sure, but he within the offense is not that different from last year. It's not that different. It's not that materially different. The difference probably is that there's less spacing around him. Last year, if you notice, like when he got off to like a really hot start, there was no Jakob Poeltl. Like when people were calling him MVP last year, Jakob wasn't on this team, right? You have a guy who's pretty much occupying the same space as another guy, and the only guy who's helping that situation out is Scottie because he's taking a lot of threes now. But if Scottie decided to play the way he played as a rookie, while Siakam played the way he's playing right now, and Jakob was on the court, you would have the worst offense in the history of the world. Like this would be literally the worst thing ever. It would be so predictable, so easy to defend. Two guys would be standing outside the paint while one guy operates, and the two guys standing outside couldn't shoot. You know what I mean? Like if I could just put Miles Turner and Jarris Walker in place of Siakam and okay, maybe not Jarris Walker, Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. You have Miles Turner and Buddy Hield on the court in place of Siakam and Poeltl, you would unlock like 24 points per game, Scottie Barnes every night, because both those guys can shoot. You know what I mean? Shooting is so important. Even the threat of shooting creates so much more gaps, and like it's just hard. It's hard to play basketball this way. So yeah. Anyways, man, thanks a lot for calling in.
Yeah. No, thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one, man. Cheers. Darian, what's going on, man? You said you call in. You called in. What's going on?
Yes, sir. What's up, Gob? How are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
That's good. Yeah. So I didn't actually catch the first half of the game because I was at a birthday dinner. But the second half I was watching, and man, like the energy was just kind of low. Like I was impressed with what Scottie was doing. I don't know exactly what happened in the first half, like I said, but I like the energy he was bringing on the defensive end. Like he had a really good statistical game, but I feel like, I don't know, his impact's kind of more than statistics a lot of time when he's on the court. Like I liked when I was watching it when he was on the back end of the defense, because I feel like he's better in that kind of sort of like Kevin Garnett role where he's in the middle of the floor or like on the help side, like pointing out shit. Like, you know what I mean? If that makes sense, rather than more of a perimeter defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Hold on one second. Just let me get this. Leanne saying, hey, everyone, so excited to see the tickets and passes are on sale for Pendants. Thank you so much for that. And Flavius Films not getting the message saying, Leanne, who's paying you for these comments? That's funny. No one's paying her. Leanne actually attended Pendants last year. So thanks to Leanne. She actually bought, I think, 4 passes, which was insane. But super nice. And she only got to see one day of it, which is really cool. But yeah, Leanne's just a really huge supporter of the channel. No one's paying her. She's a real person. Yeah. Flavius, it was a joke, broski. I gotcha. Yeah, sorry, Darren, go ahead.
I kind of lost my train of thought a tiny bit, but
I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I'll talk about kind of like Darko, I guess. I do like Darko. I have to say I do like him. I like him as a person. I like the way he seems to communicate with everybody. The only thing I'm a little bit critical of is the lineups.
Oh yeah.
Like, so for me, right? Like this offseason when Fred left, one of the main reasons I was as excited as I was because it gives Scottie an opportunity to play point guard, right? And I mean, I'm not mad that we got Dennis. I think he's doing all right. I don't think he should be shooting as much or have the ball as much, but he's not doing bad. But I think because Gary, he obviously seems to play way better and have a lot more confidence when he's in the starting lineup, like at least just from me watching it. So I feel like if you let Scottie play point guard a bit more, and you have him in the starting lineup, and then like you have a guy in the second unit instead of like say Gary running it, you have a competent like playmaker. Because so Dennis, I think that obviously Dennis, in my opinion, is a better playmaker than Gary to like kind of run the unit, but also Malachi's there, so it gets a little confusing. But I don't really know. I'm just a little
Yeah,
frustrated at points.
Yeah, I think it's annoying to me because, very clearly, like, this team doesn't really make a lot of sense, and they're making a lot of concessions and compromises for guys that I don't think are guys that any other team would make concessions and compromises for. And it feels a little bit nepotism-y or crooked. Like, I don't understand what Dennis Schroeder has done with this team or for this team to warrant starting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I mean, Gary started for you for years, right? He's been a part of your program. He already has like natural synergy with Scottie. Sitting him on the bench because he's a contract, he's in a contract year or he's an expiring contract. Maybe you don't see him as a part of your future the way, because I mean, these guys are very transparent with their thoughts about guys and whatever, like I think Masai Ujiri was sort of infamous for not mentioning Gary in his pressers. Like he would go like, I think he went an entire year without mentioning his name. The weirdest shit. So Gary has obviously been sort of the ugly stepchild in this whole situation, but he's actually a pretty valuable player. And he's not that bad on defense. And I think to people who think that Dennis Schroeder is a better defender than Gary Trent Jr., I would argue they're actually pretty close in terms of defenders, which is to say neither one of them are good defenders. Dennis just looks better. But they're both like pretty defensively. So I would say that this idea that Dennis has to start is dumb because it's completely made, Gary worse. And it's very clear to me that Dennis would do better off the bench, like way better. But he's got the media in his pocket. He's got the coach in his pocket. He's got fucking vlogs coming out every day. There's no chance you're going to put this guy on the bench now, right? He's playing too well. But my question is, I mean, who's to say we run this season out in a simulation again, and Gary's averaging 20 points per game right now, playing off of, and creating so much spacing. It's so obvious to me what needs to happen for this team. The fact that they won't do it is actually very annoying to me. And it makes me think, what is the priority? You can't have 10 priorities. You can only have one priority because that's what it is, the priority. People who say, what are your priorities, have missed the point. A priority. Priority. It's a priority, right? So there are no multiple priorities. What is your priority? Your priority is Scottie Barnes. If your priority is Scottie Barnes, then what the fuck is this shit with Dennis Schroeder? That's what I want to know. What is this, right? I mean, play Gary. Gary will help Scottie more than Dennis Schroeder will. I guarantee that, right? If your concern is, oh my God, our big shiny investment, Jakob Poeltl will not shine with Scottie Barnes, well, change your thinking. Scottie's a better shooter right now than Dennis Schroeder. And he's a better passer. I don't get it. So yeah. So look, I understand, all the media hype and whatever, 11 assists, 12 assists, 23 straight assists with no turnovers. I don't care. I don't think Dennis Schroeder's been good. I'll stand on my, I'm watching these games, man. I'm watching them back. I'm doing the film breakdowns. He misses things all the time. He's played reasonably well. I mean, he has the nutmeg, going through the legs. He's throwing some flashy dimes. But man, he's costing you a lot. He's costing you a lot. And this is a predictable pattern with Dennis Schroeder. And, I was, Coach Mo sent me an article from Dennis's time in Boston about how Dennis had fallen out of favor with Brad Stevens and, how he just chucks too much. And he bets on himself too much and he gets tunnel vision and he's not necessarily setting up his teammates. And, guys aren't really supporting him. And I'm just like, man, like, just wait for this pattern to go out again with the Raptors. And people who think like, Rob, you're never going to support a point guard who, takes touches away from Scottie. And it's like, dude, if we had Jalen Brunson or someone who's actually great, like, yeah, I would support it 100%. Go take all the shots you want. But what I will not support is like, like backup point guards, masquerading as, wannabe starters, wannabe all-stars. Yeah, those guys, because they're killing your offense too. You cannot run your offense through a guy like Dennis Schroeder and expect to be good. You just can't.
If you had a guy like Jalen Brunson on this team instead of Dennis, you know how much more spacing and stuff would happen, and like how many more like
48% 3-point shooter, plus a guy who can actually finish in the paint, plus a guy who can actually set guys up, plus a guy who can throw an entry pass. Yeah, it would be fucking great, you know. But it's nuts, right? Like this entire obsession with these guys. Like even Precious, you know, like Precious played really, really like 3 great games this year. Like really, like I'm just like, okay, shut up about Precious. You know, like for me, it's like shut up about Precious. Like he's 24 years old and he's shown you so much in those 3 games that I'm like, okay, maybe this is a guy that you get to roll with. But okay, so maybe Precious should be getting kind of the opportunity that Joe McDaniels is right now. That you put him up for 3-4 minutes. If he's doing well, you keep him out there, and if he's not, he's out. And that's the leash. And then that's your one guy that you're doing that with, and everyone else is stable. You know what I mean? Everyone else is good, but you're doing that with like 4 guys. You have 4 guys like this. You got Malachi, you got Grady, you got Precious, you got Jalen McDaniels. You got all 4 guys, and sometimes you put them on the court together. With Scottie Barnes.
Yeah, just let Scottie sink or swim.
Yeah, it's just like, Scottie, are you going to carry 4 G League players or not? You know what I mean? Like it's insane. So like if you told me they were tanking, I'll believe you. If you told me they were doing this like to do some massive experiment to see what could be like the worst offense in the history of offense, I will believe you. You know, it's really not that bad right now. You know, you're 9-11. It could be a lot worse. I said if at the 20 game mark you're 500, you're good. You one win, 1 loss. That's really what it costs you, right? You flip any loss for any win, we're right there. Pardon?
Oh, I said there's a couple games there where it could have been flipped either way, but it was just
sure.
End of game,
I mean,
like,
you make a case for the Chicago Bulls game, like we were
when OG
screwed
goes
over,
up?
right? Yeah, well, we were screwed over. I mean, but there's also a couple games where, you know, you got a lucky bounce. So I think by the end of the season, it'll all break even. But if you told me that Pascal Siakam was going to come out and shoot 20% for the whole season to date, like 19.9% from 3 for the whole season, and have a 0 box plus minus, I would have told you like 9-11 is very lucky. And that's where you are. So, yeah.
Imagine if like Scottie, like, you know, his 3-point shooting isn't really, really good this year compared to like what I thought it was going to be. Because what was he shooting last year? Was it 28 or was it 30?
I think he was close 28 to 29%. But he started out 52.
Yeah.
He started out 52, and then he had an entire month, I believe, where he shot 40. But then he had an entire month where he shot like close to 20. So he had a really bad stretch and he had a really good stretch, but he was working at it, man. Like I remember, like he was working at it after the games. He was like with Brian at the gym, you know, working at it every single day. And you know, when he's that interview with Brian's like, he's hitting them. He is hitting them. Like in you know, in practice, he's hitting them. And you just saw hints and bits of it, but like, you know, he's going through tendonitis, he's going through injuries, he's going through a lot of stuff. He's tired. His legs are tired on defense because he's chasing guys all over the place. So I just think like, you know, with him, it was just a matter of time when his jump shot and everything clicked. Right now, he feels really confident. Like he looks like he's looking for it. Like he's happy. You know what I mean? There's no anxiety. He trusts the work. He did the work. I'm super proud of him. Like I can't even like this is one of the biggest transformations I've seen a shooter make ever.
Yeah. Ever. Every time I see him shoot a 3, I'm actually like, that's going in. Like I'm like, that's in.
Scottie 3. They call him Scottie 3 now. That's fucking awesome. That's so great. So, I mean, it's giving a little bit of light, and probably is the only reason that most Raptor fans have just not completely exited this season right now is because once in a while he gives you this little glimpse of what this could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and imagine if his percentage only went up to like 32 or whatever. Imagine how much worse this team would be right now. You know what I mean? Like he's been providing a lot of stuff that you don't really have. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing is, like the way the team's supposed to be built is like I feel like others are supposed to be doing that more for him because I feel like he is on the team. He's the best player. I feel like I would rather him go for a paint touch than anybody else on the team. But right now it's so clogged, especially with Pascal not shooting up to. Like there was was it the championship year? He shot 37, right? Like it's crazy to see just the level of regression. And it might just be because the way he was playing in the Nurse offense, where he was more post-centric, getting his touches in the mid-range. You know what I mean? It's just not.
I mean, he still shot 33, 34% from three last year, man.
That is true. But yeah, I don't know.
So I mean, it's just really weird. And this type of regression is I don't know. It makes you wonder, like, what went through his head this offseason. I mean, I know he had a very trying offseason, first of all. There was a lot of rumors, a trade that almost went through to Atlanta, right? His representatives put it out, hey, we're not willing to get traded. So he doesn't spend time with the team in Summer League. They work together in Summer League. They're getting accustomed. He's not there, right? So the team eventually does join him down at the Rico runs, and they do play with him. I remember seeing, Grady playing with him, etc. So that was good to see. But to some level, I wonder at what point you have to start asking about, like, what are you doing wrong? If you're shooting 20% from three, you're doing something wrong. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with your jump shot. You're not a non-shooter. You're able to, like, hit from the line. He's not like, he didn't just turn into like a 45% free throw shooter either, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at it like, I don't think there's anyone on this team who could shoot 20% from three. Nobody other than Jakob Poeltl who could shoot 20% from three. I don't think anyone can shoot 20% from three. So, like, to be this bad, and as I say this, I'm pretty sure Jalen McDaniels is shooting something like 20% from three. Oh my God.
That's he's barely a rotation player.
He is shooting 20% from three. Oh my God.
Honestly, like, when I saw we signed him, I was honestly a little hopeful. Like, I was like, okay, we got somebody. It looks like he can shoot, but man, like,
yeah, I was hopeful too. We got Precious Achiuwa shoot. Oh my God. Okay, here's some fast trivia for you. Okay. Which of these players do you think has the highest 3-point percentage? Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Jalen McDaniels, Grady Dick, Precious Achiuwa, or Pascal Siakam?
Okay. Well, Grady's been struggling. I would like to say Grady, but I feel like it might. I don't know. Maybe Achiuwa. I don't know. It might be like a weird one.
Correct. Precious Achiuwa. Precious Achiuwa is shooting 27.3% from three.
Sniper.
Sniper.
I'm just messing around.
Oh my God. Shit is so bad.
Yeah. That, like, I don't remember, was it last year or the year before where he had the spurt of him just going off from three? I can't remember when I was.
You got three guys shooting above 40% from three. Can you guess who they are?
Above 40?
Yeah. I don't know if he still is. I don't know if he still is after tonight, but yeah, Otto's one of them. Yep.
And Scottie's at 38, 39. I don't know. It's not Gary.
Nope.
Not Dennis. Not Pascal.
Not Pascal. Okay.
Yeah. Is it Malachi?
Nope.
No, I don't know, because I just guess because sometimes I see him shoot really well, but other times it's like, I actually don't know. Can you tell me?
Did someone say McDaniel? Yo, are y'all crazy, man? No, Scottie's not shooting above. Nope. Scottie is shooting 38% from three right now. OG is shooting 41.5 prior to tonight. Otto is shooting 43.8, and Boucher is shooting 44.8% from three.
Okay, yeah. Boucher, I've actually liked Boucher this year. He's probably been our most consistent guy.
He's been awesome. Yeah, and yet, I mean, we are last game he had 3 minutes? Like, what is Darko doing with these rotations, man? I want to know.
I need to see more Otto too, bro. Like you said, like, for what he does, he's pretty much perfect at what he does. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've been a basketball fan since I was probably like 7 or something. And I'm not that old. I just turned 21 technically today in my time, but
today?
Yeah, on December 1st.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. But I remember watching him.
And you just got the new job.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's a
awesome.
good month. It's a good month.
It's a great month. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm starting at a new MMA gym on Monday too, which should be awesome.
That's dope.
Yeah. But what was I saying?
Hold on, chat. Everyone wish Darian a happy birthday. There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Nice.
Oh yeah, Otto. Oh, yeah, I remember watching him on the Bulls. I think he was on the Wizards for a while, and like every time I watched him, I just remember being like impressed with like what he was doing with like the time he was given and the amount of time he had the ball. Almost every game I watched, and like I don't remember what year he got drafted, but I remember he always got hurt by injuries, which kind of held him back a bit. But I
Yeah,
like Otto a lot. Like I was really happy when we signed him.
me too. So, apart from drafting Scottie is one of my happiest Raptor moments over the last 5 years. But say la vie. I'm sure he'll get minutes. I'm just happy to see that he's healthy, that he's had an impact already in the games that he's played. The Raptors are above 500 in games that he plays. That surprises absolutely fucking no one. And they are significantly below 500 in games he does not play, which also surprises absolutely no one. But what are you going to do? Anyway, man, happy birthday. Thanks for calling in. Really appreciate you. All right.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night, man. And hopefully the Raptors use this break to, I don't know, see an exorcist.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. All right, man. See ya.
Have a good night, brother.
See ya. Good night. All right. Okay, let's take a quick look at the stats around, and then we will bid you for farewell. Thank you, by the way, to this community for okay, so financial goals aside, we had our best financial month last month. It was our best. The previous best was, I think, April of last year. That's pretty impressive because most people don't tune into basketball at this time. So I think that has a lot to do with these lives. I think it has a lot to do with super chats and super stickers and a lot of generous people, helping out. And yeah, we had a couple of really dead months in the middle of the summer where I was working on my DP reel and I wasn't really doing much with this channel. So, it's really cool and hopefully we can build it up even more. So once this video goes live, if you're watching this afterwards, let me know if there's some sort of content, that you are dying to see. If there's this particular subject, a particular player, like, hey, I really want to know more about this player or that player. We need a player profile or, explain this or explain that. There's an analytics series that's in the work. We're going to work it out, But after Pendance this year, and of course, I run the Pendance Film Festival. That's going to take up quite a bit of my time over the next couple of months where I'm going to be splitting my time between conspired basketball and that. But after that festival is done, I need to take like a really, really solid look because, yeah, I gotta make some serious decisions in my life. And I think, one of the big decisions I want to make is, are you going for this or are you not going for this? Are you going to take this to the next level? You're going to do this right? You're going to put it on Patreon? You're going to put it on Spotify? You're going to put it on, podcasts? Or you're going to, start inviting the guests that you want to work with? Are you going to do the things that are required and put in the work that's required? Are you just going to lazily, let this get by you? So yeah, so thanks for holding us up while we figure it out. But yeah. All right. Could you do one on Otto? Yeah. Are we doing post games tonight? Are they up? Are they live? I would love to, but I checked like a couple of minutes ago and they were not up. So if they are up, I would love to hear what they have to say. That would be fantastic. It would also give me a chance to get water. Hold on, I'll check. I'm not seeing it. What am I? Oh, got it. 26 minutes ago. Perfect. All right, I'll download this real quick and we'll bring it up. Give me 1 sec. I just finished my director of photography reel today and I'm very excited. It turned out really good. I think it turned out really good. I will definitely share it at some point, but the song will get the video demonetized, so I'll have to share it like via a link or something. Okay, downloading and uploading. Here we go.
The game, you were shooting the ball well, your 3-point shots were going well, and what's it feel like sometimes when, I guess you can relate sometimes when some other guys aren't making shots, but how does it feel when you had such a good game, but elsewhere in the lineup, the shots weren't falling?
I want whoever asked that question to have their mic banned for the rest of their lives. Y'all remember why, for how many months we wished we'd be like, yo, how come we can't hear the questions? How come we can't hear the questions? Get these dudes some mics. We want to hear the questions. What kind of company is this? Why can't we hear the questions? This is why you can't hear the questions, because the questions are so fucking stupid. Can we just please break down that question? How does it feel when you hit shots and your teammates do not? Like, what the fuck do you... Am I wrong? Let me know if I'm wrong. That's probably the dumbest question to ask a dude, right? Jesus Christ. What do you want him to say? Get me better teammates? I mean, I feel like they're baiting him into saying that. He's not going to say it, but geez.
We just try to come out here and play hard. Get stops. They made some threes off our rotations. They had guys come off the bench, shoot 7 from 9. Josh Hart was a key piece off the bench as well. They got some free throws going to the line, so they just had some good bench production that really helped them. They made shots. We was trying to do our rotations, and they made shots. So we was just trying to continue to get stops, keep playing at our pace. We got a lot of good shots that didn't fall, but we're going to live with that. We shoot every day, and we're going to keep being confident on shot.
Can we ask where you got your jersey?
Well, my jersey, I got it from her. Yeah.
Did you reach out to her?
Yes, I did. When we was in Vancouver, I texted her. I was like, can I get a jersey? And she reached out, said yes. I was like, I need one of those. So then she got me a signed jersey, and when she comes to a game, I give her a signed jersey as well.
That's good.
Yeah, it's fun. Pretty good.
I can tell you nobody's that big on the women's soccer team.
Scottie, how much inspiration do you take from athletes from other sports like Christine Sinclair? Like, what can you learn from an athlete like her?
Just her dedication to the game. She puts in a lot of work. She does what she does very well. One of the best to do it. When it obviously takes a lot of hard work and dedication and putting her mind to something, and just being able to reach that level that she's at, that's inspiring to a lot of people.
You, in the first quarter, you were taking a bunch and making a bunch of mid-range jump shots. How do you decide when it's like a good time to pull up for that shot versus take to go?
The shot was just there. I think I made one probably off the dribble. I think I made like 2 in the pick and roll. I was in a weird spot on the floor, but it was just still a pick and pop to the mid-range. So, it was an open shot, so I was just being able to take those shots and shoot them with confidence.
This season you've had some great wins. It's been, I guess, inconsistent, through the 20 games. And when you look at the high points, what do you think can carry over and can build some consistency after the slow break here?
I feel like as long as we defend the ball really well, then we'll be really good. There's been some times where we go out there and shoot the ball really good from 3, and then there's been times like this where we shoot 6 for 32. So just got to keep being confident in ourselves and continue to try to make our shots, move the ball, play with some pace, and just stay locked in on defense. Like I said, we shot 6 for 32 today. A couple of those went in, and we look better as a team, and we could probably pull this one out, but it's fine. We want to keep trusting ourselves and keep being confident.
Early in the third quarter, seems like you guys took a few quick threes there, game got away with you. How would you assess what went on to start the quarter?
I mean, I don't think
that's necessarily what cost us the game. Like I think over the game in general, I mean they made a lot of threes and we didn't shoot it very well tonight. I think that was the biggest difference. We didn't play with like 100% energy, I feel like, but it wasn't a bad game in general. I feel like we created good shots, we just weren't making them, and that fuels their offense, fuels their confidence, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
How tough is that to overcome, Yak, when a team outscores you by 30 from behind the arc? Like, what do you guys have to do when shots aren't falling to kind of make up that differential?
I mean, obviously it's tough, yeah. It's going to come down to like hustle plays, like offensive rebounds. I feel like it feels like we did a pretty good job with that. I don't know the stats, yeah. And then like, yeah, try and get stops anyway on defense, even though they're making high percentage shots. Like, keep making them tough. Like, don't give them any easy ones. Like, get all the 50-50 balls, stuff like that. Which, yeah, we didn't do enough tonight.
You are now 20 games in, a quarter of the season. You got 4 days off to kind of reflect. Where do you think you guys are compared to what you thought you might be with the relatively new system?
I mean, I didn't really have any specific expectations. Where I think we are right now, we're in a spot where we still got a lot of room for improvement. I don't think it was a horrible start to the season. I think we would have wished a little bit better record, but in general, we're playing the kind of basketball we want to play. It's just not easy with the whole new system and the new coach and everything to like get going right away and be at 100% of what you think you can do right away. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but yeah, we'll get there.
That said, the season certainly hasn't gotten away from you, so I guess that's got to be a reason for optimism. But you haven't lost anything in this first.
How does Doug Smith still have a job? I've been asking this question for 20 years. No one's answered this for me. Actually, the only answer I've ever gotten was, Rob, you're too young to remember when nobody wanted to cover the Raptors and Doug Smith was the only guy who was willing to do it. As Coach Mo says, homeless franchise, homeless media, homeless mentality. What is this question? The season hasn't gotten away from you. You're 2 games under 500. It's 20 games. What are we talking about here? Holy shit, man.
For sure. I mean, we know it's a long season. We're not looking at our record after every single game. It's more about figuring out how to play our best basketball and then how that's hopefully going to translate into wins down the road. Yeah, I mean, just control what we can control and keep playing our brand of basketball, stick together, stick with the system, and then hopefully, we're going to reap the rewards at the end of the season.
The record isn't for a lack of good wins. I mean, you look at the wins you guys have had this year, and there are a lot of really good ones against good teams or the comebacks. Do you look at that, and is that like encouraging to be able to say, like, we know that we're capable of this, or is it just sort of like, okay, well, how do we start stringing those together more consistently?
I mean, yeah, like we know we're capable of it. Like you said, we showed it against good teams. We showed it against all kinds of different teams. It's about finding consistency within that system. Obviously, like sometimes it's just not your night, and we've had a couple of those this season as well. But it's the ones that really hurt us is when we feel like we got outworked. We made like simple mistakes that shouldn't happen, like a lack of concentration, stuff like that. Those are going to hurt us at the end of the season. So try and limit those as best as possible.
Where have you seen Scottie's game improve the most, change the most since your time here last year?
I mean, I had limited time with him last year, so it's tough. I mean, he's been very aggressive. Like, I think within that free flow system, like he seems to do really well, like being aggressive, trying to get in the paint, making plays for himself and other people. Yeah, like I said, I don't really have much to compare it to. We only played really a couple of months last season.
All right, you guys were actually leading the game in a lot of categories tonight, but it seemed like you guys struggled at the 3. How do you compensate for that?
I don't know. I guess play hard. Just keep what got us there. I mean, obviously I think we had a good game plan and we played pretty hard, and we just gotta find ways to sustain it for 4 quarters instead of 3 or 2.
How is it that you guys have games where you come out and win against Phoenix when you guys had a late night, like coming flying back in, and then games like today where it feels like not a whole lot of energy? Why is there like inconsistencies in that regard?
I don't know. I mean, I think
He doesn't know. I know. Let me help him. Phoenix played really, really, really poorly. The Knicks did not. The Knicks played well. It does happen where sometimes you beat a team when they're not feeling it. It happens, and I don't like this idea that we have to have a team that's just not playing well to beat them. I have yet to see a team play really well against us and we've won. I'm trying to think of when that's happened and I can't remember it. That's the scary part about this 9-11 record is as much as you can say, yeah, you beat Milwaukee. I mean, shit, man. I think Milwaukee beat Milwaukee that day. I'm not even trying to be rude. I watched the game. I'm like, this is not Milwaukee. I'm not trying to take anything away from Raptor fans. Please understand. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to be honest here. Like, I watched Phoenix a lot this year. Partially just really Kevin Durant's one of my favorite players. I've seen them play really well. And I've seen them play really shit. And I saw them play really shit against San Antonio and lose, right? I saw them play really shit against Toronto and lose. It happens. Teams have that game. I think Jakob Poeltl said it. Some nights just not your night. You've caught a couple teams when it's just not their night. Dallas Mavericks missing Derek Lively, just playing awful defense. Yeah, I mean, you had something to do with winning. Obviously, you played a decent brand of basketball, but I've yet to see this team beat a team when they're on their A game. Does that make sense? Like a good team on their A game, it's over for you. And every time you faced a good team on their A game, you've lost. I think Boston played horribly. The game that we lost against Boston, where Scottie got stuck at the checkout, like at the time, at the table. I think Boston played horribly that game. Take it from someone who watches a lot of other teams play basketball. Like I watched a lot of Boston Celtics this year. I've watched a lot of Phoenix. I've watched a lot of these teams. I've watched at least a few Philly games. When teams have come out and executed their game plan and they're a good team, you've lost. So if Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster are like doing an honest evaluation of this team, you should probably know that no matter what you're doing against good teams, if they want, they got the win. That should be the scary part about this. You can keep saying you're implementing a new offense. Guess what? There are a lot of teams out there that are implementing new offenses. I don't even think you're implementing that new an offense because you're not playing that materially differently than you were last year. You were earlier, but you're not so much now. So that's kind of the scary part about this. I'm just trying to keep it a buck. I don't know.
Obviously, when you go, you're playing a good team. You're probably more focused, but honestly, we got to play every game the same. I think one thing that we could do better is seeing every team like a challenge and just knowing it's hard to win in this league. So I mean, we got to play every team.
Hang on, Troy Knights. Pacers played well. No, they didn't. No, they did not. I can prove it to you. I can show you the advanced box score for that game. They played so many lineup combinations that they have literally never played. I watched Sampson's entire whatchamacallit. Samson Folk did a podcast with Caitlin Cooper right after. Caitlin Cooper covers the Pacers. She was shocked that the Pacers played that way. They were playing a whole bunch of lineups. They were missing Andrew Nembhard. They were missing like two of their best defenders. They played lineups off the bench that had never played together, and they got killed in those minutes. So you have to give it perspective here. The Pacers are not the top team in the East. They are an above average team that's probably going to be in the playoff play-in picture. You're not talking about like the top teams. You know what I mean? Top teams being Denver. A healthy Denver team would be a top team, right? Boston, Philly, Milwaukee. Again, you beat Milwaukee. when they were still trying to figure out their defensive coverages, and you killed them. So, you can feel good about that. But like, they lost to a lot of, they've been so much better since. But look, yesterday, the Chicago Bulls beat the Milwaukee Bucks without Zach LaVine and without DeMar DeRozan. What does that tell you? And the Bucks had Giannis and Dame. So, it happens to every team. I'm just saying, like, I've yet to see a team play really well and we still won. It does happen all the time in the NBA that you play well and another team just plays better. That's what I'm saying. Anyways.
Team the same and, trying to get a couple wins in a row.
And what are you seeing out there? Because you've had some consistent stretches between Brooklyn and Phoenix, and then, of course, mainly this game as well. What are you seeing?
Same thing. I'm just trying to bring energy, do what is demanded from me and whatever I need to do to help the team, really. I think we still got a lot of work to do, but, my role is pretty simple.
It's sort of tough to live when you're outscored by 30 from the three-point line. What did you see was the defensive issue that allowed them to get what looked like a lot of open
question over and over?
Yes, they were getting open looks. Some of those came from the post-ups. Some situations we came way too early to help, and we did not have rotations on the weak side, timely rotations to take away those shots. I thought a couple of times they did a really good job of moving the ball in a half court as well. Like when we were in our pick and roll coverages, they were able to spread that ball to the wings and continue moving the ball to create good looks. On the other side, I thought that we were getting good looks as well from the three-point line, but we did not make our shots tonight.
At the end of the second quarter, you guys got some energy in the game and you got right back into it. Then the start of the third quarter, you really seemed flat as a team. Is there an explanation for that of any?
Yeah, but start of the third quarter there, we came out and we did not knock down our shots. What else happened there is that OG picked up his foul, so we pulled him out. Scottie was having good energy there, that's why we kept him longer, and that changed their rotations that we had in the second half as well. I thought that a couple of guys came off the bench, like Chris Boucher. He played a good game. He had great energy there. He was able to help us. But just a couple of mind mistakes and turnovers and travels just took away from some momentum in the game that we had.
I know you're never going to harp on missed shots, but during that run at the start of the third quarter for the Knicks, I think you guys took 3 straight non-paint touch threes. Can you guys afford to have stretches like that?
Yeah, it's always like knowing the time and place to take those shots, and I think we want to take those shots when they're open, but also when we know that they're kind of getting away. I think it was 7-point game at that point. We got to be more conscientious, attacking more paint. Like tonight, we scored 60 points in the paint, and out of our 106. And it was just hard because some of those situations, there were so much going under on us that it was hard to set better angles of screens to get us more downhill.
Scottie was guarding Jalen Brunson a lot tonight. Is there a specific reason you liked him on ball rather than having him be the weak side help there?
In some of those situations, when we were switching, that was putting him to guard Randle, to guard him on the post-up, just having a bigger body down there. But a lot of times, it's not first time this year, a lot of times we put Scottie to guard their guards, and I thought the start of the game that Dennis did a pretty good job. We just wanted to give him a different look as well, and different size and pick and rolls with the 5-man as well.
Coach, you won a lot of categories tonight in terms of, rebounds, assists, second chance points, fast break points, but it kind of is glaring the three-point line. How do you adjust, around that?
It's get back in the gym, work, and make sure that we're continuing to move the ball. And when those open shots and open opportunities come, we got to be able to make those shots. The game is played that way. You cannot play a game without shooting from the three-point line. So we got to just continue putting work in and believe that we're going to make them.
It's about a quarter mark of the season. You have a 4-day break now in between games, so some time for reflection. What do you think about how far this team has come and what there's still to do in terms of setting the identity?
Great question, Eric. I'm obviously thinking about this break of 4 days over here before games. For me, it's going to be very important to message our guys once we come back for first practice. And I think we're still searching our identity. And when you look at certain games that we played this year, like some of the great wins that we had against Phoenix the other day, against Dallas on the road, against Indiana, coming back from some deficits and then coming back in the game. We got to decide what kind of team we want to be, and we know what is the road to success. And we got to do that for 48 minutes. You know, we cannot come up to the games and choose. In this game, we're going to do it a little bit less or a little bit more. We got to have our really mindset what it takes to win every game. And in NBA, it's hard to win every single night. It's very hard to win in this game. So that's why we got to stay together. We got to put a lot of work in and trust in each other.
You mentioned the OG's foul trouble kind of messed with the rotations a bit. Is that how you ended up with that OG plus bench lineup late in the third quarter?
Yes, because Scottie was kind of like playing well there, and like we were like trying to get our bed, not allow them to make too much of the run. Try to played Scottie a little bit longer, and just it was impossible for him to play full 24 minutes in the second half. We got him quickly out of the game and tried to start the fourth quarter there with him back. But yes, that messed up a little bit our rotations there.
Huh. I wonder, in a game where you lost easily, you were out of it within 4 minutes, what would have been lost by playing Scottie Barnes straight? He would not be the first player in NBA history to play 24 minutes straight in the second half. I mean, he'd be at 40 minutes. That's pretty much, he was used to that last year. Yeah. Take a look at this. So 5.6 box plus minus. I sorted it. The second to last category on the end is box plus minus. Those are the 4 players on your team other than Marquise Noel and Garrett Temple, who have done their damage in a grand total of 20 minutes, who have a positive box plus minus. And really, you can strike that out there as well. So it's basically just Jakob, Dennis, and Scottie. Everybody else, starting with Pascal and OG, are 0. And then from there, you can just go down the list of negatives, right? Box plus minus, obviously not the holy grail of everything. It's possible that lineups, limited minutes, etc., are impacting this. But certainly what sticks out is, you don't have a ton of guys playing well. And pretty much you could say that if OG was playing like he was earlier in the season, you probably win a few more games. If Pascal Siakam played like he did last year, you win a couple more games. But I think there is some theory that not everyone can play well at the same time if the pieces don't fit well together. See, the Knicks, I think if you look at the Knicks tonight, everyone played well. Everyone who played well, right? Because their pieces fit. Their pieces are designed to play well together. With the Raptors, it's always pick and choose. It's either going to be a Scottie night or it's going to be a Pascal night. If it's going to be a Pascal and Scottie night, it's probably not going to be an OG night. The pieces don't fit. They just don't fit. Oh, and if it's going to be those guys' nights, if it's going to be all 3 of those nights, well, it's definitely not going to be Dennis and Jakob night. You know what I mean? So it's like you're almost playing whack-a-mole with your roster, right? So I don't think the pieces necessarily fit well together. I don't think the Raptors played well tonight. I don't think they really played well all season. Phil Dupuis had this comment where he said, give him credit, good defense disrupts offense or something like that, that ultimately other teams are not playing well because we're so good defensively. Look, I'll agree with you that playing against Scottie and OG will disrupt a lot of teams. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about teams coming out and just absolutely playing like ass. Like, how do you explain the game that Devin Booker had? Like, I mean, he was playing terrible defensively. He's not some world beater defensively, but like, I mean, he played horrible defensively. I watched that entire game. I'm like, what is he doing out there? You know, it allowed Scottie to get going. It allowed a lot of players to get going last game. So it's like, it's not just him having 8 points or Durant going 11 for 30. Yeah, you can credit defense for that, but it's just like teams that just come out and kind of lay an egg. You know what I mean? So look, I'll agree that maybe there's like one game this season where they've played well against a reasonable opponent and they've played like a good brand of basketball. I do enjoy how they played against Milwaukee. I enjoy how they played against Indiana. I like how they played against Detroit. But again, I don't think that this team necessarily fits together. It's sort of my opening. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Yusuf Nurkic in the paint, you know, that team is used to just beating you in offensive talent. Their offensive talent wasn't going. Devin Booker rolls his ankle. He's not feeling great. He scores 8 points. And there's your game, you know? And it's a game that's a team that had won 7 straight. And they had beaten this New York Knicks team without Kevin Durant. Think about that. They beat this New York team. I think they went into New York and did it too. So again, I think you play Phoenix in a 7-game series, you probably lose 4-1 as the roster is currently constructed. You face New York in a 7-game series, you probably lose 4-1. You face Miami in a 7-game series, you probably lose 4-1. You're pretty much in that 4-1, you know, category. You are like the Orlando Magic 2018-2019, where you'll get one game based on defense, but you're not going to get more than that based on everything else. So how do you get to a point where you could play these games? How could you get to a point where you can take it to a 6-game series or a 7-game series? Maybe you wouldn't be favored to win, but how can you bridge that gap? I think you get pieces that fit together better. You get smarter basketball players. All right. So anyways, big NBA names and scouts agree with you, Rob. This team makes 0 sense. Yeah. Hey, Nick Yak. It wasn't stolen films. It was stolen scouting reports. Get it right. Proprietary. Oh my God. Proprietary scouting information, according to whatever. Come on, man. If we had shooters by which we shot the league average on threes, we'd be a good team. We need shooters, period. I think that's an oversimplification of a very complicated problem. You don't just not have shooters. You're not playing your shooters. Your shooters aren't getting open touches. I mean, look, man, like I can show you the entire, hang on. I'll actually show you. Sorry, yawning. Okay. There's your 3-point attempt rate. There's your entire team sorted by 3-point percentage. That's how many players on your team shoot above league average from 3. That's Garrett Temple, Precious Boucher, my bad. Chris Boucher, Otto Porter Jr., OG Anunoby, Scottie Barnes, Gary Trent Jr., Dennis Schroeder. You have 7 guys shooting above league average. Guess what? This guy doesn't play. This guy barely plays. He played 3 minutes last game. This guy's not playing. So don't tell me you don't have shooting. Explain to me why your coach won't play shooters. I think that's a more relevant question, right? I mean, and then ask yourself also, how did this guy, hang on. How did these 4 guys shoot so poorly from 3? That's what I would love to know. I mean, Thaddeus Young hasn't taken a 3 yet this year. So in fairness, he's barely played. He's played 3 minutes. I think he's played 10 minutes all season. But Jalen McDaniel is shooting 20% from 3. Pascal Siakam shooting 20.8% from three and 19.9% after tonight's game. And Grady Dick shooting 24.4% from three. Yo, man, Grady comes back. He plays 20 minutes for you. He shoots 37%. You're a completely different team, aren't you? That's one more shooter, right? Malachi Flynn started out the season averaging like, I think, 48% from three. He's cooled off tremendously, more so even after tonight. So he's now below league average. Surprise, surprise. He's back to where he was last year and the year before and the year before. So, like, I mean, replace your 35% three-point shooters with a 38% three-point shooter. I don't know. Get your 20% and 20% three-point shooters to stop shooting 20% because they're much better than this on their careers. I mean, these are career lows for these guys. And I mean, this offense is generating better looks than these guys have probably ever had in their whole lives, right? So at some point, you have to ask yourself, does running your offense through Dennis Schroeder impact your shooters? Hell yeah, it does. Is it impacting your turnovers? Hell yeah, it is. You know, I mean, how many times has he thrown the ball to Pascal Siakam and it's just squirted out of his hands? I mean, Pascal Siakam's not butterfingers, dude, right? He's not someone who's generally clumsy with the basketball. He's not a very high turnover player, right? How many times has this happened this year? It's just unnatural. Anyways, good loss. I don't know. Can we say good loss? Scottie plays well. We lose. Team goes one game closer to a decision. So we'll see. Thank you to everyone who called in tonight. Thank you so much, Brian, for the super chat. Hope y'all doing well. Hope you and the family doing well. And hope you guys are doing well. And we will have a few days off. But don't worry. There will definitely be some content. We'll do an analytics breakdown either tomorrow or the next day. We'll certainly do that. And we're going to try to get to some videos for this channel because I would love for this channel to grow for the next month. Like I really want to, I have this idea right now. Most people set their New Year's resolution on January 1st, right? I have a different habit where I like to set my New Year's resolution a month before January 1st. I like to meet my new year a better version of myself, as opposed to trying to become a better version of myself when I get to the new year. So yeah, I'm trying to do a lot of good things, but one of the good things I really want to do, obviously beyond, you know, putting a lot of full force energy behind Penn Dance Film Festival, is also to take this channel to another level and to be able to offer you guys even more. So let's see where that goes. Sometimes I wonder if the players are quiet quitting on the front office. Christopher, oh man, I don't want to do that because I feel like if I do that, yeah, that might be tough for trade value. So I will certainly look at Scottie's evolution maybe in a video, or I could also consider like the best of Precious Achiuwa, like kind of just see like what this guy could be if he can put together his good games, right? But yeah, anyways, guys, make sure to hit like, subscribe. Please hit subscribe. It'd be really nice if you hit subscribe. Although we have a lot of people who watch these videos that are subscribed, so thank you for that. But if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. All right, take care, guys. Have a good one.